Okay, good evening. This is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1. And this is a rare Friday night Murtathon because I wanted to cover a few things. Now, our favorite cockwomble slash conspiracy theory's been a little busy this past week. And a number of things have happened. Now, one of the very first things that had happened here, if I can cue it up, is that we finally had a ruling on Tim Holmes's lawsuit that he filed in the Middle District Court. As you know, Mr. Holmes made a big deal about this so called lawsuit, bragging about it all over the internet, saying how he was going to make all these millions of dollars. Good evening, Upside Down. Welcome to the Friday night Murtathon. I have to change my Murtathon days because of my ever changing schedule. And so we're going with this. Now, back to what I was talking about here. Now, Mr. Cockwomble had been bragging about this lawsuit and how he's going to make all this money and how everybody was going to get in trouble because of this crimes against humanity business. And the problem is, this is blown up in his face because the court has made a ruling. And that ruling is as follows. And I'm going to do a read along so that people understand. Oops, wrong thing here. I'm trying to queue up. Okay, I just getting my ducks in a row here. For some reason, I hit the wrong button. And the ruling reads as follows. Plaintiff Timothy Charles Holmes Seth filed a rambling 90-page complaint purportedly arising under the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. The court ordered plaintiff to file an amended complaint that includes simple, concise, and direct factual allegations sufficient to demonstrate a plausible, non speculative right to relief. Thereafter, plaintiff filed a largely incomprehensible 60-page amended complaint that plainly failed to comply with the court's order. In an abundance of caution, the court allowed plaintiff one final opportunity to submit a second amended complaint that complies with the federal rule of civil procedure. In response, plaintiff submitted a 58-page amended complaint. This significantly duplicative submission fares no better than the plaintiff's prior pleadings. The second amended complaint remains a prolix, difficult to comprehend narrative, heavily laden with irrelevant discussion, sweeping conspiracy theories, and personal attacks. In short, the second amended complaint does not include simple, concise, and direct factual allegations sufficient to demonstrate a plausible, non speculative right to relief against any defendant. Rather, the rambling, factual allegations and unexplained interspread exhibits once again fall well short of demonstrating a plausible right to relief against defendants. The Second Amendment complaint is therefore subject to dismissal. Moreover, the court has now indulged plaintiff with three opportunities to submit a pleading that passes muster under the federal rules, expressly advising that failure to comply would result in dismissal. Plaintiff, however, has not evinced a serious complaint to comply with the court's orders or submit a pleading that demonstrates a plausible, non speculative right to relief. Therefore, for these reasons, this case is dismissed. This form dismissed and is dismissed without prejudice. This form of dismissal allows plaintiffs to initiate a new federal action regarding these other matters subject to all applicable rules, including Rule 8 and time limits. So Timothy Charles Homseth has become a three-time loser. Now, you would expect that this would end the matter and that Homseth would wake up and find something more to do with his time. But oh no, Tim Homseth has done it again. And he decided that, well, maybe I will have better luck in a different court with a different judge. So, what Timothy Charles Homseth has done is he has gone to the United States District Court in the Eastern District of Tennessee to file his complaint. And the heading reads as follows. Write the name of it. This is basically a form that you fill out when you're going to do one of these things. And it says, write the full name of each plaintiff who is filing this complaint. If names of all plaintiffs cannot fill in the space above, blah, 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 blah. And the plaintiff, of course, is Timothy Charles Homseth versus Mike DeWine et al. Now, Mike DeWine is the governor of the state of Ohio. Now, what is curious here is Timothy Charles Homseth did not file this in the state of Ohio. He has this thing for filing these weird cases in the state of Tennessee. He's become fixated on the state of Tennessee as if he feels that he is going to succeed there. And this is a 20-page brief. And it has his street address as Hudson St. Croix, Wisconsin. Now, this is where he has his drop box at. Now, again, this point is important, as I will point out going down through this. And yes, Laurie, he is trying again. Yeah, he started filing this before his other case was dismissed, and he has yet to inform his supporters over on the various social media site that he has lost another case. And again, he is going after Alexandra Goddard, calling her a media activist in her residence in Ohio. He is also suing, of all people, Bonnie Conaway, which is Alex's attorney, also in Belmont, Ohio. He is suing Cynthia Frigolo, I guess is how you pronounce the name. And this poor woman is the clerk that filed all the paperwork. He is suing a clerk of the court of all people. And then he is suing Mark DeWine, governor and chief executive of the state of Ohio in Columbus, Franklin County, Ohio. And he's told to fill out, and he said, if the basis for jurisdiction is a federal question, list the specific federal statutes, federal treaties, and or provisions of the United States Constitution that are at issue in this case. See attached. All right, well, we'll have to wait until we see the attached. Plaintiff Timothy Charles Holmseth is a citizen of the state of Minnesota. Oh, really? Up at the top of the page, it has as his address Hudson St. Croix, Wisconsin. Now, why is he giving a Wisconsin address when he is a resident of the state of Minnesota? I would love to hear his explanation for this. The defendants, if the defendants is an individual citizen, blah, 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 blah. And in here it says nothing. But we'll get into that later because this question number 2 on this thing. It says if more than one plaintiff is named in the complaint, attach additional page providing the same information for each individual plaintiff. Okay, apparently this is rather confusing because it goes down to 2 the defendants. If the defendants is an individual, the defendant's name, state of, or as a citizen of the state of, and he's left that blank. B, if the defendant is a corporation, he's left that blank. Statement of claim. Where did the events giving rise to your claims occur? I was in Tennessee when I observed the state of Ohio and other defendants herein were publishing content about me on a state of Ohio website. See attached. Get to that in a minute. What date and approximate time did the events giving rise to your claim occur? The events began on January 30th, 2023. I believe it was evening time. C. What are the facts underlying your claim? See attached. Explain why monetary damages at a later time would not adequately compensate you for the injury sustained, are sustaining, or will sustain as a result of the events described above, or why any such compensation could not be measured. And this one, oops, where'd it go? Okay. There is a plot to kidnap me under color of law and murder me. They are planning to use the fraudulently obtained order to accomplish that. My murder is already planned. C 3 colon 22 CB 00912, which lays out the details of this. This is life and death. Well, unfortunately for Timmy, that judgment has been dismissed, which this justice will see when they go look at that case. And they will also see the arguments that were made against Tim Holmseth 3 times regarding his vexatious lawsuits. State briefly and concisely what damages or other relief the plaintiff asks the court to order. Do not make legal arguments, include any basis for claiming that the wrongs were alleged are continuing at the present time. Include the amounts of any actual damages claimed for the acts alleged and the basis for these amounts. Include any punitive or exemplary damages claimed, the amounts and the reasons you claim to are entitled to actual or punitive monetary damages. His answer, excuse me, I am asking for an immediate injunction on the protection order placed against me in Ohio. I am asking the order be removed from CDIC. I am requesting the court place places restrictions on these attempts to arrest me in the future. I am asking for federal criminal charges be referred and or an investigation commenced into this organized crime. Under the federal rule of civil procedures 11, by signing below, I certify to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief that this complaint is not being presented for an improper person, such as to harass, cause non frivolous argument for extending, modifying, or reversing existing law, or three, the factual contentions have evidentiary support or if specifically so identified, will likely have evidentiary support for a reasonable opportunity for further investigation or discovery, or for the complaint otherwise complies with the requirements of Rule 11. For parties without an attorney, I agree to provide the clerk's office with any changes to my address where case related papers may be served. I understand that my failure to keep a current address on file with the clerk's office may result in the dismissal of my case. And he signed this on the 2nd of February, 2023, which was before his case was dismissed in Tennessee. And we get down to the defendants. Defendant number one, Alexandra H. Goddard, is an individual and citizen of Ohio. She is believed not to be a citizen of the United States, but Alexandra Goddard does have a permanent resident visa, which is close enough, and she is entitled to the rights as a citizen of the United States under that exemption. Defendant number two, Bonnie Conway, is an individual and believed to be a citizen of Ohio. Cynthia Regato is an individual believed to be a citizen of Ohio. Mike D. Wine is an individual and believed to be a citizen of Ohio. The state of Ohio is a corporation, and its principal place of business is Ohio. And it gives the address of the state of Ohio, which is DeWine's office. Frank Regato is an individual believed to be a citizen of Ohio, judge, and information of that. And he includes the statutes on which he is arguing his point, same as before. 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 63, mail fraud and other fraud offenses. 18 U.S. Code 1343, fraud by wire, radio, or television. 18 U.S. Code 2261A, stalking. 18 U.S. Code 242, defamation of rights under color of law. First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. I found this one curious. Fifth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Again, another. And racketeering Influenced Corrupt Organizations Act. Now, all of this crap is the same argument he gave in his previous lawsuits in Hello King Fish Kebab, or I like shish kebab. Fish kebab I'll have to try. Sounds interesting. Now, he go down further in this mess. He puts up um, on January 30th, 2023, I was in the state of Ohio, began hearing on social media that a stalking order had been issued against me in the state of Ohio. Believe it was in the evening when I first heard this. The stalking orders related to a RICO complaint I previously filed in the Tennessee Middle District. Home South Burgess Pace et al. I already confronted Mike DeWine, governor of Ohio, about fraud being committed in his state in a letter to DeWine. The image below is a screenshot of the story where the letter was published, and this was October 14th, 2022. And, this was again written on the Pentagon pedophile crap force. And he puts all the information out so people can call him Pester Governor DeWine. On August 19th, 2022, I heard on a YouTube program called Crime and Scandal that on August 16th, 2022, the executive branch of the state of Ohio had filed a charge against me for the crime of complicity to menacing by stalking. You can imagine my surprise considering the fact that I've never been to Ohio. And this is an irrelevant argument. Holmes says should know this by now. He's been through this before, but he keeps making this stupid argument. How could this be? I wondered, so I continued to watch the live YouTube program to see if it was actually just a hoax. But nope. Lo and behold, there was a screenshot taken of the Belmont County Court's website that declared state of Ohio was charging Timothy Charles Homseth with a crime. Wow! This is in the letter, by the way. The government website said the offense date was August 12th, 2022. That's so weird. I thought I wasn't in Ohio on August 12th, 2022, so I continued to watch. The executive branch of the state of Ohio was using interstate electronic communications to tell me, the whole world, that the good people of Ohio want to put me in jail. And again, it is so weird because I was nowhere near Ohio on August 12th, 2022. I was being charged with complicity, so I investigated further, and it turns out I was being accused of being complicit in the menacing by stalking because apparently the executive branch of the state of Ohio said that a woman named Randy Lynn Erickson from Minnesota had stalked the state of Ohio. Now, Tim is wrong on a lot of this. And what makes this interesting is that he is doing in Tennessee the exact same thing that he's talking about here. Because none of these people in the state of Ohio have been to the state of Tennessee. And they have not, it's just that you can reverse all the arguments that Holmeseth made in reverse. And the reason the complicity is here is because he is actively out there working in league with Randy Erickson, allegedly, on all this stuff. and I've been sent a question. And for some reason, it's not showing up on my board. But the question is the only active for warrant for Timmy still in Minnesota? And yes, it is. He also has warrants in the state of Ohio and in the state of Florida. So he has multiple active warrants. And by the way, there is more than one active warrant in Minnesota because of the lawsuit against Craig Sawyer that he did not bother to appear and similar things. And he is also the same thing happened in Ohio. He could have gone to the state of Ohio and defended himself against that, but he chose not to. So, he does have the warrant in the state of Ohio because he has been charged with a crime and he's failed to appear. And we go on. Wait a minute. I thought I personally know Randy Lennon Erickson and know she is nowhere near the state of Ohio on August 12th, 2022, or any state or at any other date. Randy Erickson has never been in Ohio in our life. There might be proof to the contrary because of a video that came out around the time all this was going down. Now, this is an interesting thing here. Now, Randy Erickson is not from the state of Ohio. She has never been to the state of Ohio, according to Timothy Charles Holmes yet. Yet, Randy Erickson has been complaining against Alexandra Goddard over this photograph that was allegedly sent to Randy Erickson. She has sent copies of the image allegedly to the state of Ohio, the state of Tennessee, and elsewhere. But okay, Levi, let me go over there and see what you have to say. But at any rate, we have all this going on, and Timmy says, "Well, I've never been in the state of Ohio." But Randy says she's never been in the state of Ohio, yet she's pressing charges against defendants in the state of Ohio. Okay, I have mentioned the case. The other one, I'm going to hold on to that one for the time being, but it would explain a few things. Randy said that she was going to go to the state of Ohio because she, quote, has the right to report. She has been to a relative of Levi Page's house, and so forth. So that, we have all that. But how did Randy Erickson stalk the executive branch of the state of Ohio? I thought, and how did I help? So I continued to listen to see if I could learn more. Sure enough, I obtained some more information. Levi Page reported that Randy and I had stalked a woman named Alexandra Goddard, which, that is what these two had been convicted of. And the very first thing that went to my mind is the fact that Erickson told me that Alexander had Goddard texted a photograph of a vagina to her, Randy. Now, Timothy Charles Holmes has gone out of his way to say that this description of this photograph might be that of a child without saying it's a child. He was very explicit on stating that, and Randy Erickson even contacted Tennessee authorities to ask them to investigate it to see it, make sure that this was not a child that has been missing in the state of Tennessee for quite some time. Yeah, Now, I'll comment here. The silly thing is because Ohio brought the charges, it's a sovereign citizen thing. And yes, it is. But there is such a thing as sovereign immunity, which means that the governor of the state of Ohio, just like the entire Justice Department, cannot be sued over something like this. There is sovereign immunity, which a sovereign citizen should know all about that. Since they are saying that they are immune. The second thing that went through my mind actually as I was thinking the fact that Alex Goddard is a admitted kidnapper, rapist, and sexual torturer. Well, the problem with this is that number one, statutory wise, Alexander Goddard is not guilty of any of these things. The individual in question came to the residence on his own free will. The resident had in previous encounters actually tried to sexually um, rape or make inappropriate and unwanted advances to a woman. That was the whole reason for this. So, Tim is, in essence, trying to defend a rapist. Now, law enforcement was a present apparently at this particular situation. And for someone that was raped, this is a male, by the way, no charges were ever pressed. None. Zero. So, so he is a rape apologist at this point, allegedly. Now, it goes on and on and on about all the Soviet citizen stuff and about he manages to mention me in here and, keeps calling Alexander Goddard a rapist and so on and so forth. And now the problem here is Alexander Goddard won an order against Mr. Homeseth. And all the under the rules, everything about Alexander Goddard in the blog that he writes about Alexander Goddard has to be taken down, as well as on other social media. He has failed to do so and is retransmitting this same false information. So, Mr. Holmseth may be guilty this time of a felony. And so there's going to be some stuff coming about that. Now, we come to an interesting story here in addition to all this, and another one by this piece of work. So let me go over to timothycharleshomeseth.com because now on the 9th, which is yesterday, we have this big headline: Delphi double murder. Timothy Charles Homeseth has submitted new information to the accused murderer's attorney, Andrew Baldwin. Now it comes out that Timothy Charles Homeseth may be defending the alleged murderer of children and who also may be an alleged pedophile. So now Timothy Homeseth is once again 14 years to the day meddling in a current case having to do with missing and possibly murdered children. And he wrote, "Today I submitted information to attorney Andrew Baldwin, Indiana. The correspondence contains to the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German in Delphi, Indiana in 2017. Baldwin is the lawyer for accused murderer Richard Allen. The new information was submitted to Baldwin for review in the event it benefits his independent investigation of the Delphi murders, Holmseth said. Now, the problem here is this is not so much an independent as it is the um, an investigation by a defense attorney to try and keep his client out of jail. And by submitting false and misleading information to the defense, Holmseth is directly interfering with the case. Now, he is also, along with some of his other supporters, providing information to the prosecution that has absolutely nothing to do with the case. Now, when this came out, something interesting happened. And someone else thought, well, gee, if Timothy Charles Holmseth can provide information to the attorneys, that maybe she could. And now, for some strange reason, I am not finding that information. And it is probably because it's, well, that's weird. I wonder why that's not coming through. Well, let me see if I can figure this out, because I thought I had this. But at any rate, you know, and the funny thing about all this is Holmseth has not mentioned one word about Haley Cummings, about the fact that 14 years ago she disappeared, her fate is unknown, and that, um, it was November 7th, 2009, I believe, that, okay, I gotta see, that thing has completely disappeared, and I had this all set to go, and it went. Okay, I was just sent some new information. Oh, this is interesting. I gotta go and find this. A new correspondence just showed up on Pacer. And this is breaking news. All right, why am I not? All right, I'm trying to figure out what this latest thing is that I just saw. Okay, yeah, this is what I was looking for. And State of Ohio, County of Belmont, Court of Common Pleas, docket and journal entry. Alexander Goddard, petitioner versus Timothy Charles Homeseth, respondent. The court has received a number of correspondence via email from a non party individual to this action, which includes written information and internet hyperlinks appearing to be attempt at an ex parte communication, said correspondencer attached is ordered filed herein. The correspondent nor any information contained within has not been reviewed or ordered by the court. If any party or individual seeks information relating to this case, there are proper channels by which the information may be requested. Attempts at contacting the undersigned are not such. Any further such attempts shall be discarded upon receipt. And we have a Gmail uh, from Terry Dean Nemmers. Has a cell phone number here. I forgot to ask you the last couple of times I emailed you why a label certified mail for DR 0015 Alexander Goddard versus Timothy Charles Homeseth FAF tracking number was printed out but never entered into the USPS system. Well, it's because it's FedEx. When Timothy, one was Timothy Homeseth served. Did you want the evidence to indicate Alexander Goddard and Kim Pacasio have a well? Did you want the evidence to indicate that Alexander Goddard and Kim Pacasio have a well documented history of filing false police reports? See attached. Okay, when will that certified mail data be entered into the UPS system? Now, Nemmers uh, likes to write really, 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 really long letters. I'd be here all night. But it shows in detail all the information, including several references to his address in Wisconsin. And it accuses Kim Pacasio of making a false police report, and so on and so on and so on. And a second letter comes through uh, from, again, Mr. Nemmers. And this is to the Belmont Sheriff saying that Timothy was not properly served. And he says a person who engages in cyberbullying and blah, 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 and it goes on and on and on and on again. And we have Alexander Goddard versus Timothy Homeseth. Goddard defames Homeseth as a pedophile. Goddard defames Homeseth as schizophrenic. USPS tracking results. That's FedEx. Alex defames Homeseth. William Murtaugh harassed by Goddard. Goddard YT account terminated harassment. Missing USPS data for proof of service, aka tracking, and so on. And he sends another letter. Now the one to the Belmont Sheriff. And tonight, Phil McConnell and the Art of Deception. Okay, so he's linked my live stream in here. And this is a transcript of the chat. This shows you how obsessed Mr. Nemmers is here. And we have attachments. USPS tracking results, State of Ohio versus Randy Lynn Erickson, State of Ohio versus Timothy Charles Homeseth, Vigilante Alexander Goddard makes threats of retaliation, Vigilante Alexander Goddard, Harbano Soros, Goddard provokes incident with Erickson using fighting words threatens unlawful deadly force. Now, this is defamation on the part of Mr. Nemers because all Erickson has to do is stay away from Goddard, and there will be no legal use of a firearm to protect her private property. And this is the same contention where Mr. Kakawambo says that he is being threatened with murder, which is completely and absolutely false. Nobody wants anything to do with this moron. State of Ohio versus Homeseth, Charles, USP tracking another tracking number. State of Ohio versus Erickson, another vigilante. Goddard makes threats of retaliation. Another vigilante. Goddard has pro sauce version 3. Goddard provokes incidents with Erickson using fighting words, threatens unlawful deadly force, which is again false. And Lion News once again sends another one. Do you remember I provided you with public data? And goes on and on and on and on. We have attachments, that same tracking number, Goddard versus Timothy Charles Homestead. But, you know, this is direct interference by Terry Nemers in this case. This means that under the provisions in the Goddard Protection Order, Nemers is acting as a third party advocate for Timothy Charles Homestead, which is making Homestead violate um, so it's yeah, Murdaugh, which is totally unrelated. Yeah, he's screwed big time. You know, that's been a weird case. But we have all this. Okay. Um, yeah. All right. What I'm going to do is, I'm not sure whose number this is, but I'm going to put this up there. Oh, Nan, welcome. I do read your Facebook. I'm doing fine. It's still the same problems I had 14 years ago, but different people. Um, Nan is one of my oldest friends that I have had for ages, way back from the uh, even far back as Trent and Duckett, but also mainly with the Casey Anthony situation. All right, I got to remember how to do this. It's been so long. Um, Somebody wants to do a call in, so I've got to figure out. Let me go back to the. Okay, here we go. Invite. Okay, I'm going to link it. Um, so let's see. La di da di da. Hey, there you go. We are going to have a call in, folks, if this thing works right. Uh, while we're waiting, I wanted to give you my condolences about your father, Nan. I meant to write you and haven't had the time. And I, you and know what it's like to lose somebody close to you like that. And, so my sympathies. Uh, I have it on a good lead is putting Timothy Holmseth in the state of Minnesota at um, the Erickson residence. That's unconfirmed, but that is the going narrative at the moment. There's what I could call a family emergency, and everything. Mm, hmm, interesting. Anyway, uh, yes, he is. He's got nine. He has multiple warrants for his arrest. His first one is out of the state of Minnesota. The second one is also out of the state of Minnesota. He has warrants out of the state of Florida and warrants out of the state of Ohio. He's too much of a coward to show up in court. He likes to file all these lawsuits, but he refuses to show up in court to fight these accusations. And that is the uh, what I was just discussing before you checked in. That he, all right, let me try to coordinate this. Um, she could be in trouble for harboring a criminal. That is quite true. Uh, all these so far are um, misdemeanor warrants. If it gets bumped up into a felony, there um, might be some problem. Now, the she allegedly has warrants against herself as well. One for failure to appear in the Craig Sawyer lawsuit, and another having to do with the charges stemming out of the state of Ohio. And you know, they collect these warrants like green stamps, or maybe like pizza coupons, where if you buy 10 you get the 11th free or something. I don't know what the deal is with that, but at any rate, these people are going around the country ignoring the rule of law, defaming and slandering everybody. Uh, the warrants are mainly for failure to appear in court, contempt of court. In the case of Holmseth, in the case of Erickson, it's the same thing, but they have been charged with criminal offenses in the state of Ohio, and they refuse to answer for the charges. Holmseth has filed this ridiculous lawsuit in the state of Tennessee, and it's going to go nowhere like the rest of them. And we have fruitcakes like Terry Nemmers barging in there, and is actually going to make the situation worse for Holmseth, because he is interfering in these cases like he's some kind of Clarence Darrow. And they basically bitch slapped him in saying that you're going through the improper channels to get the information you're seeking. So Mr. Nemmers needs to take a course in how to deal with getting information. Uh, Craig Sawyer, who is an individual from the West, has sued Randy Erickson for defamation of character and slander. He won a $500,000 judgment because Randy Erickson didn't bother to show up to appear in court, and so she got a contempt citation. What have I got down here? Okay, let me bring you in, Alex. Sorry, I just. Okay, Alex, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello there. Watch the music now. I don't want to get slammed with copyright.
Oh, hang on a second. I had it on for the bird.
Oh,
1 minute.
Yeah, it was a default judgment. Now, yeah,
All right.
she's
I have
coming
to
in
see.
as soon as she gets arranged
All
here.
right, there we go.
Okay, Alex, you've got the floor. What do you have to say?
Well, I just joined and I saw that you're discussing the journal entry that the court entered today.
Yeah, the this was the situation with the latest one is with Terry Nembers fooling around with the court, and
Yes,
I
Tamra.
could not find your statement that you were going to send to Delphi. For some reason, it's vanished. Um,
My statement that I sent to Delphi? You mean
yeah,
my email that I sent to the attorney?
that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is you can tell the people on here exactly what you said and the reason for it.
All right, hang on 1 second. All right, so um, as you all know, I have been granted a restraining order, and there are currently warrants out for the arrest of said person who is the subject of the restraining order. And apparently, I mean, we all know he's been sending BS complaints and false information to various law enforcement agencies across the United States, accusing us of being involved in crimes, which is, it's crap. I mean, he is interfering in cases that families are, it's disgusting what he's doing. So I sent an email to the attorney on the Delphi case, since someone has been sending garbage to them, accusing us of doing whatever. And then today I got in the mail from the judge on my restraining order case that someone has been sending what is considered ex parte communications. And I won't mention that someone.
I already have, but
Okay, well, I will not, because here's what's going to happen, Mert. Um, he is third party harassing me. And if you look at the ex parte order and the final order, it says any third party harassment goes back to the respondent. And I'm putting this out there to Tamra, who I know is absolutely listening tonight. In the state of Ohio, all it takes is 2 occasions to harass, as in accordance to the statute for stalking, menacing by stalking. So, Tamra, stop, or you're the next one that's going to get a restraining order. And I emailed him when he sent an email 2 weeks ago that if he did not stop contacting me, he would be next. So, Tamra, I don't make threats. So that's your first warning and your last. This order also says anything else that this psycho sends to the court will be put in the trash. So it is time to stop, people. It is time to get a hobby, crochet, latch hook rugs. I don't care what it is, but it stops today. For everyone involved with these weirdos, today is it's the end day. You're done. So, Terry, this isn't a warning, because anybody who knows me knows I don't give warnings. One more communication to my attorney, one more communication to the court, and you are the next person that is going to have to haul your ass to Belmont County, Ohio, to explain to a judge why you're harassing me. So that's what I have to say, Mert.
Well, the warning is out there, and these people do listen to this.
Oh,
Uh,
it's not a warning, Mert. You know me. I don't give warnings.
well, they've been notified. Let's put it that way.
That is correct. You know me. There
Oh,
is one firing shot, and I don't play. I don't play games. So if Tamara would like to be the next president of the F Around and Find Out Club, and I hope you're transcribing this, Tamara, because again, go read the statute for the state of Ohio where menacing by stalking or stalking and harassment are concerned. You get 2 times. So I've already gave you an email that said cut it out or you're the next one. So your second one is all this crap to every official in Belmont County. So next time you're going to be the next one with a restraining order. And that's all there is. I'm done. It's time to find a hobby. Go to church. Find something to do with your time. Because the rest of us are.
uh, that's a good question. I don't know who Tamara is. Um,
That would be Terry Nemmers. I'll say it.
oh yeah, yeah, Mr. Lion, the one who likes
Yeah.
to.
Mr.
Well,
Lyon with multiple restraining orders
yeah, he
and
has a
felonies. So,
real interesting jacket.
no, he is somebody that has too much time on his hands.
Yeah, yeah, he is a male, somewhat.
No, I refer to him as Tamara because I emasculate him
Hmm.
because he's a psycho, in my opinion.
Okay, you're being asked about infiltrated.
Oh, what about her?
Are you going to take any legal actions?
Well, you know, the long arm of the law is long, is it not?
It sure is.
Yeah,
And international.
yeah. So all of these people need to stop because people are fed up. They have jack shit to show for their claims, except baseless allegations. And I'm done. We're all done. We're done.
Yeah, we more than done. But trying to get some sense into these people is like hitting a brick wall with a
Well, but
toothpick.
that's not going to happen because they're senseless and they are not. They're they're insane. I mean, how many lawsuits have been dismissed now because of insanity, rambling, unhinged? It's not because the courts are all on our side, it's because they're freaking weirdos. And at some point, don't you sit around and go, maybe it's my bad behavior?
Well, Nemers has a history of this. I'm looking at a tweet from March 10th, 2021. And
Yeah,
my man,
he has a very long history of it.
and my,
And again, I'm done. I've ignored this weirdo for how many years now has he been trying to like sniff up Timmy's rear end and get involved in all this?
oh, quite a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, Terry, I'm again, I'm not giving a warning. This is it. And if you read that judgment entry that was issued, It says anything else he sends to the court is going to be thrown in the trash. So whatever he says is not relevant. They think he's a wacko like the rest of us do. So stop. Because I will get a restraining order. I'm done. I'm done messing with you idiots. Get a hobby.
Okay,
So that's what I wanted to say, Mert.
well, I appreciate you stopping in.
Yeah.
Um,
Last time they're like, oh, she's showing her vagina and her ass and blah. Whatever. Do I care, Mert?
Not really. I've known
No,
you
I
for
do
too
not.
long.
And my philosophy is when you're paying my bills and wiping my rear end, then I care about what you have to say. Until that time, I don't.
Okay, I received an anonymous DM that
Well, I'm sure
warrant.
it's from Astro.
No, hear me out.
Okay.
Uh, Warrants are in the works in the state of Tennessee for harassment. It is rumored that Timothy Charles Holmseth is living there with his daughter. His lawsuit had a notary from Tennessee. Um,
Yep. Blount County.
and so the state of Tennessee is rumored to be working up warrants that have to do with the case that was just dismissed. So I'm not sure.
Well, here's something else too, Mert. Um, Tim, in his LOL suits, his lawsuits, claims that he's a citizen of Minnesota, but provides an address in Wisconsin.
Hmm.
You can't do that. Like, you have to have an address that you can receive responsive pleadings.
Yeah, and I believe there's other problems with that lawsuit that um,
Oh, it's
they are
dismissed.
checking into. Yeah, it's dismissed, but there were even before the dismissal that they were looking into certain things that he was saying in there, and there may be someone who is filing a complaint because he has been on the property of someone and making accusations, and I'm not sure what that's about yet. I've been trying to figure that out. And the family of a missing child in Tennessee is also complaining about his barging into their case.
Well, I would be complaining too. I mean, what he's doing is disgusting. With Delphi, with Summer, Wells, um, these families are trying to get closure and to find out what happened to these children. And he is sending garbage in for the sole purpose of being malicious. There's no other reason for him to do this. He knows that no one has done what he's accusing us of. And them screaming that you're Whitey Bulger.
That is funny. It's stupid. Um, and yeah, I don't know if that female's name is him or some Looney Tune cult member over there, but that has got to be the
But it
most.
doesn't matter because he is Tim is cunning at this point. He can say whatever he wants to say, but he is hoping that one of his crazy followers harms us. So he's inciting others in the hopes that they harm one of us. I
Yeah,
think you should try to get a restraining order against him again.
well, I may just try again right
Well, I will help you write it out like I have done in the past for others. But I mean, we are at a point that enough is enough.
Yeah, we
I mean,
certainly
he is
are.
dangerous at this point. If you even look at his ramblings, they are um, thoughts that are just like flowing out there. He doesn't have concise thoughts anymore.
No, no, that's the slide I put up is a description of that personality. It's actually a term, the cockwomble, and I'm gonna see if I can find the reference point for that because it's very specific
Well,
about.
if you look at the psychiatrist report on Kim's restraining order, that will tell you everything that is happening today. He's dangerous. I consider him dangerous. I consider Terry Numbers dangerous. And I'm going to do everything in my power to keep these psychos out of my real world. So, like I said, I don't give warning shots.
Well,
And if it takes every single one of us getting restraining orders against these people, then so be it. It needs to stop.
yeah, it certainly does. You've got you know two very important cases involving children that um, are being sidetracked because of
Yeah,
this individual's. These families want justice, both out in Tennessee and over in uh, Delphi. These people are not interested in pissing matches between internet personalities. They
yeah,
want the facts. They
exactly.
want justice. And
Right. And they're mucking up the waters. I mean, I can't even imagine what these families think when they go out on the internet and these dipshits are hashtagging this case. They see it.
and
Shame on them.
he's also gotten himself in the middle of the um, case down here in Ocala, Florida, with Neely Blanchard saying that she's innocent, that she was set up,
Yeah,
and so on and so forth. And
yeah.
it's
No,
garbage.
she's
It's
not.
false.
She admitted. She called her
She
friends and said, I blew his brains out.
and she said it to the cops in Georgia when she was
Yes.
arrested.
What?
There's
They
recordings of
are
it.
like they ground themselves on my followers are not going to do research. They're going to believe everything that I said, and that is what is happening because these people do not research. Even though
No, they
that's
don't.
their like whole their holy cry, do your research. None of them do.
No, and it's the same merry-go-round every week. Something else comes up.
Well, Mert, you could file a restraining order in Minnesota and not in Florida
Hmm.
because the way the statute reads is where it happened. And Timmy has said he's a resident of Sherburne County, Minnesota. So I will gladly volunteer my time to prepare your restraining order.
Well, we'll talk about this offline
Okay. Well,
in
I'm
the
just
next
saying,
few days
I mean,
because
I think you
personally,
should do it because enough is enough. Every time they put this freaking garbage out there, they put you in danger. They put everyone else in danger that they're making these disgusting accusations about. And they don't have jack shit to prove these accusations except what's coming off their keyboard.
yeah, yeah,
And you have these dummies that believe every word that comes out of his mouth.
yeah.
So you should get a restraining order. It's time. It's beyond time.
Because and Levi's another one that needs to do it because
Yes,
there's
he
stuff
does.
being personal mailed to me about him,
Well,
and
yeah, they're sending private investigators to watch all of us. I'm sorry, but that's stalking.
yeah,
It doesn't matter if it's a private investigator or not. You're paying somebody to see what we're doing. It's none of your damn business. Move on with your life, weirdos.
yeah, we definitely going to start clamping down on people. Enough is enough is enough, as they say.
Yes, it is. And I encourage everyone to also contact the Secret Service about Timmy. I mean, it's not like he's advertising about sending letters to Trump's lawyers and to Trump and to Jim Jordan. I mean, he's like John Hinckley Jr.
Oh, I found what I wanted here.
But I'm done. I think I proved I was done when I went and got a restraining order against the one idiot. And again, Terry Nimmers, stop. You already have 2 times in Ohio. So one more. I could go on Monday and file it. And you've already pissed the judge off, dummy.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah, he did because she said in the order she's throwing the rest in the garbage. And she didn't even read what he wrote.
I don't think he's got enough time. He writes a book and a letter,
He's so weird, isn't he?
but I've got the letters he sent me. God, it took me an hour and a half to read one of them.
Well,
He
like I
goes
said,
on and
I got
on
an
and on and on.
email 2 weeks ago and I said, if you contact me again, you're going to be the next one with a restraining order.
Well, I
So
told
he's already met the statutory limits. 2 in the state of Ohio. Terry, stop. I'm being nice. Stop. I mean, I don't want to deal with these idiots all the time. I have a life. I mean, they seem to think that I'm online 24/7 watching what they're doing. I'm not. I don't care. Do what you got to do, idiots. I'm doing other things. I have, I work full time. I do consulting. I have a relationship. Nobody's paying attention to them. But these idiots, this is their life, and that's actually it's sad.
well, that's a narcissist, and that's exactly what he is. He's been doing this for years, and it's funny if people were to do a little background check on his trespassing charge that he has up in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, they would really see just exactly what Home South is. He is dead silent about that trespassing charge
Of
and about
course.
the felony grand larceny charge that he was convicted of in,
For the felony DUIs.
well, felony DUI, but he has a felony theft, and that's where his felonies come from because
Well,
he
you
is
know what cracks me up is they go on and on about, me getting shit faced and coming on your broadcasts. And I'm like, seriously? I'm not an alcoholic, but you are.
yeah, quote reformed alcoholic, which he's not.
Yeah, you're still an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
But but
So,
I think
you can't talk shit on one thing and you are it. It's called projection.
well, one of the charges nine was abuse of a controlled substance. Now that is not alcohol,
Oh, he was probably on meth.
you know.
In
And
my opinion,
he admitted in his book that he was abusing things. He got himself so wasted that he nearly died on the floor of a mental clinic. And it's in this damn book, right in the very
yeah.
first part of the book.
And he had to be taken to a mental facility because of his whatever abuse he was doing.
Yeah. And the brain damage that can happen, he was relatively young. So they say in studies that people that young that get that deeply intoxicated and hooked on things suffer damage. And this may well be the very case here. He may have hidden damage that kind of makes him do these things. But
No, there's something wrong with him.
yeah,
Like, in my opinion, I think that he does have mental illness.
hmm
I do believe by watching him in his writings, it is probably schizophrenia and that he's untreated. And
yeah, that's
that
possible.
would account for the hallucinations that he discussed in his book. I believe, again, in my opinion, that he is schizophrenic and is probably untreated. And the fact that he was adopted.
hmm
Um, we don't know who his parents were, but obviously they had some mental illness.
Yeah, it was an open adoption. Never heard why he was given up. And he gave his surname as the first name of his son, um, which I thought was rather interesting. And he has declared himself a sovereign citizen using his birth name.
Well,
That's how he found out
as
his.
I said before, I am creating a dossier on him that will be going to the Secret Service because I do believe that he is he's not any different than John Hinckley Jr. In watching him over the last year, his behavior has escalated, and I
Because,
believe that he's dangerous.
well, he is so anti Biden that, that's either him or one of his supporters, you know,
But
could
it's not
lash out
even
at
that.
Biden.
It's like completely anti-democrat. It's completely anti anybody who doesn't buy into the garbage that he believes in, and that in itself is wrong. I
hmm
mean, my boyfriend is a diehard freaking Republican. He likes Trump, but I'm not like harassing him about it. We can all get along. We can, respect differences.
Yeah.
But these people, they can't. And, again, we go back for the past, at least the past couple of years, watching his behavior escalate and the stories become more grandiose and even more out there, and even in his writings in the last couple of months. Everything is about him. Every news story, Jim Jordan is speaking to him. It's just it's frightening. It's very frightening.
Yeah, these people never heard of him.
No, But he thinks that, like today, DeWine apologizes and about reporters, and he thinks it was about him. I mean, that is, in my opinion, again, that is like schizophrenic stuff that you're like associating everything that happens to your little fucked up, bizarre world.
Yeah. Well, it's always been about him. I remember the me, 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 me song. It fit the whole thing perfectly. That was, that was the most on point thing that I ever heard about him.
Well, like I said, I'm done. When this garbage from the internet, from people I don't even know, I never wanted to know who Timothy was or Terry Nemmers, when it starts infiltrating my real life personal space, then I have issue.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
let him go after Biden and Pelosi and all
yes,
these other people,
leave me
but
the
to
hell
go
alone.
after us ordinary people who are not important is, this is where the criminality comes in.
Yes, it's called menacing by stalking. And what do they know about what I tweet? Why are you watching? Who cares? I tweet shit about meatloaf. Is that a super secret message? It's like enough already. So again, that's why I came on here, because of Mr. Nemmers. You have two incidents already in Ohio. You have met the statutory limit for harassment. I'm being nice. There will be no more, Terry. Enough. Or you're going to come to Ohio.
All right, folks. Well, thank you, Alex, for checking in. I think
You're very welcome.
I am going to call it a night. I do hope that Mr. Nemers heeds the warning or advisory, if we could call it that, even though knowing that idiot, he probably won't. Um, he loves the attention, even if it's bad attention. So we'll see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll
We
see where
shall.
all this. We'll start the countdown clock for the dismissal of the next case that Mr. Holmseth has filed in the Eastern Court of Tennessee, which is going to wind up being thrown out like the other one was.
Yes,
And
but they don't talk about that, Mert. They have yet to post that it was dismissed.
oh yeah, they won't post that it's dismissed
Why? How come? Why not tell the truth?
because truth is a stranger to those folks.
Yes, it is.
But it's out there. It's on this channel. It's out in public
It's on
was
Pacer.
that it has been dismissed. And and this case in Eastern Tennessee is going to be dismissed. And he does not seem to understand what sovereign immunity is. He cannot sue the state of Ohio or the governor of Ohio because they have what is known as sovereign immunity. And, this is the same case as trying to bring the Justice Department into this nonsense. They were actively getting ready to go into court and get that thrown out when it was dismissed anyway, because it's sovereign immunity all over again.
Well,
And he just not know what he's doing.
no,
Never
his
has. He has never ever won a case in court. Not one.
nope, not one.
The one case he said he did win, he didn't. He had to yield to the wishes of the mother of his son and follow her requirements so that he would be able to have the rights to see his son restored. And so that's not winning a case. That's having to compromise to do something that you did not want to do. So, and
Yep.
he lost that one.
Yep. So, all right, Mert. Well, thanks for having me on so I could give out my last hoorah about it's time to stop it.
And I appreciate you coming in. You're welcome anytime to discuss anything, Alex.
All right. And
And
I'm sorry for the haters that I did not show my butt tonight. I know you're sad.
yeah, well, what can I say? Maybe next time. All right.
All
Well,
right,
go
Mert. I'll see you.
pet the dog and kiss the birds. And
Oh, I
see you.
will. I'll see you. Bye.
All righty. Good night. Uh, the hit what was happening in that particular dispute between him and the mother of his son was that he was obsessed with Haley Cummings. And yes, he had the poster up on the wall. It's Haleigh, by the way. It- um, and he had a poster up on the rear of his desk, one of his famous pictures of him, shirt and tie, behind an old office desk, and he's got Haley Cummings poster up on the wall. He had to take that down. He had to keep the discussion of Haley to a minimum until his son was an adult, which I believe he is now legally an adult. Uh, but a lot of weird accusations came out. The affidavit said that his daughter had dressed the son up in female underwear against his will. And there were other rather disgusting allegations that were made in the uh, report to the caseworker and to the court. And that got um, the decision came down from the court that the poster is removed. You have to follow certain rules and so on and so forth. And that's what happened. And, um, the poster was the big thing. But he, a photograph turned up that had him dressed up in girls' clothing, wearing high heels, and he did not look happy. And that was found on a zip drive, apparently, in his apartment that a number of people were cleaning for him when he went to jail on his first conviction, or it was when he failed to appear in court and fled to whereabouts that could not be proven. I wouldn't say unknown because we all know where he went. We just couldn't prove it. And so it's hearsay. But the interesting thing, now that you mention it about Haley Cummings, is yesterday was the 14th anniversary of her disappearance. Um, she has never been found. She's missing, presumed dead. The father of Haley Cummings, who had gone to jail for drug trafficking and uses, along with the babysitter, he got out of prison here a while back. And in no time at all, he got arrested again for the exact same thing. He is in jail awaiting trial, and he's going to wind up serving another 10 to 20 years for the exact same thing. And so all that, has culminated in the 14th year of this child's disappearance. The biological mother of the child is deceased. Everybody more or less has moved on, with the exception of Mr. Homestead. And surprise, surprise, he did not say one word about Haley Cummings yesterday, the day before, or within the last couple days. So this is where we're at. So, Nan, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate everyone coming in. Uh, the biological mother of Haley Cummings died a couple of years back. And the babysitter is currently in jail for the same charges that Ron Cummings, the father, was put in jail for. And so that's where everything is going on right now with that case. And again, good night, everybody. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and share, and stay tuned. And we'll see what happens down the road with all these cases swirling around in the cesspool of the internet. And until we all meet again, have a good one. Thank you, Nan, for checking in. Bye, all.